Peace, peace. The reading, aka the Quran. The reason why I say the reading is because when I started leaving traditional Islam to only following God's guidance, I didn't want to hold on to always using Arabic words. I mean, for example, like your name, my name, Saleh. Everyone, we should say Sully because my parents didn't know the Arabic of it and stuff like that. So my name is Sully. You know what I mean? I have a full first name, but Sully's a part of my first name. That's what I go by because I used to get made fun of before when I was in elementary. Because my name is Abu Sully, right? But you pronounce it in Arabic is Abu Saleh, right? Abu Saleh. But I was Abu Sully. When I was in elementary, up until I got to 4th grade, from kindergarten to 4th grade, they would call me Abu. You know what I mean? So I was getting made fun of my name being Abu. But actually, when I came up to Binghamton, we moved from Brooklyn in '89. I was 8 to Binghamton. I was in 3rd grade. And my name Abu, people was making fun of me because we was reading this book called Boo Boo the Troublemaker. So they was calling me Boo Boo the Troublemaker. There's one kid I stabbed with a pencil. That was back when I was younger. I used to have a lot of anger issues. You know what I mean? So I stabbed him with a pencil, and I got in trouble for that. I ain't stabbed him hard or anything, but stabbed him with a pencil, whatever. I got in trouble for that. And then when I got to 4th grade, I finally told the teacher, just call me Sully. So ever since then, people just call me Sully. But yeah. So like names, there's no purpose in. I mean, when I was rapping, I was righteous because Sully also means righteous, to make right to a man and stuff like that. So I was going by righteous as my rap name. You know what I mean? But when I found out the Quran just means reading, it just means reading, then I'm like, if I can say this word in English, why not use the English word? Why I keep using the Arabic word? Like, instead of saying salam alaikum, why can't you just say peace? I don't mind saying it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't say bonjour, à tout à l'heure, you know what I mean? What's that? Comment está? I might say a little here and then, a little language I know, stuff like that, but I'm not going to just keep saying it like that. I'm going to say the reading because it's English, I speak English, and I want to let people know that you don't have to speak the Arabic words if it can be translated into English. You know what I mean? Like, you never hear nobody saying, when they talk about, let me see. When they talk about the sky, you never hear nobody say the sama. They always say the sky. You know what I mean? Same thing with certain other words. So the reading, aka the Quran, is guidance for everybody. For everybody. The Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, the Buddhists, the atheists. It's guidance for everyone. You pick it up, you read it, examine it, analyze it, deep ponder over it. If you accept it, you accept it. If you don't, you don't. That's just what it is. Now, the reading states, there's no compulsion in the system. The deen, right? There's no compulsion in it. You know what I mean? I think the word system fit better. I was going with constitution for a while, but I did some more research. I'm like, nah. And the word system, overall as a system, it fits right. So God states there's no compulsion in the system. What is compulsion? Compulsion means to coerce. To coerce someone into doing it. You know what I'm saying? It also means to force. To make someone do it like against their will or so. Yeah, that's just what the word means pretty much. So there's no coercion. There's no God told Muhammad, are you gonna force them to trust? Are you going to compel them? Are you going to compulse them to do this. There's none of that stuff. Now, what the Muslims say is that what this means is you can't force anyone to become a part of their religion. That's what they say it means. But it just means in general. It could be adults, teenagers, or even kids. I mean, teenagers are kids, but I'm talking about like, younger kids. And it happens. In the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, the Buddhist religion. I don't know too much about Buddhist religion. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? But it's definitely in the Muslim religion. For example, the Christians, they got the Sunday school. I know kids who didn't want to go to the Sunday school. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to go to the Sunday school at all. They didn't care about that. They was confused. Is Jesus God or is Jesus the Son of God? It was like they was confused about that stuff. You know what I mean? They didn't want to do that. I don't know too much about the Jewish people. I had a Jewish friend in high school and stuff like that. We was cool and everything like that. Yeah, I was Muslim. He was Jewish. We would make jokes about, the Palestinian and Israeli. We make like our jokes about that with each other. My one friend, he was Buddhist, but I don't know too much about any rituals. I know Jewish got a lot of rituals, and the Muslims got a lot of rituals. I don't know too much about the Christians' rituals. I know the big ministers and the Pope, they do all the Ash Wednesday. I know the kids would go get the Ash Wednesday on their forehead in high school and stuff like that. But yeah, but I go. Even the Amish kids go through it. You see them on TV. They get their chance to go out and experience the English life. And they like the English life. They don't want to be Amish, but they get excommunicated. They have a hard time getting in contact with their siblings and things of that nature and stuff like that. But I know that when I was Muslim, you could say it was done a lot of us. Come home, we gotta do the prayer. We didn't want to do the prayer, so we would skip steps. We come to fast. When we're not home, we're gonna eat something and drink something real quick, something small. You know what I mean? And then we would continue to fast the rest of the day or whatever. The women had to cover up more of their body parts than the men, so the females would go to school with a change of clothing, and then before they went back home, they would change back into the khimar or whatever they was wearing. What else? Anything else? All the other stuff like hanging out, partying, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it was more so when it was like in the house, and as a parent, you want your child to follow the religion you're following, but at what cost? I mean, even when I was younger as a father, and I was traditional Muslim, I did the same thing with my kids. You know what I'm saying? And that could be the reason why my daughter could be atheist now. I don't know, because at one point she was a Wiccan, but now she's straight out atheist or whatever. You know what I mean? And she don't even like to even talk about God or stuff. Like, she don't want to even hear about it. You know what I mean? Even though she uses the phrases like Jesus Christ, I'm like, Jesus is dead, he can't hear you. She might say, oh my God, like you don't accept God, so why do you say oh my God? That shouldn't be a word in your vocabulary. You know what I mean? I don't accept more than one God. So you don't hear me saying, by the gods, oh my gods. I would never do that, because I don't accept that. So why would I say something like that? You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. My oldest son, he's like Sunni and stuff like that. He's not like hardcore Sunni, but he tried to do his best in his learning and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Things like that. I talk to him some here and there. We share the viewpoints. I tell them what God says. You know what I mean? My other kids, yeah. Now, yeah, I let them be who they are, be what they do. I don't force my kids to accept anything. I just tell them, yo, look, this is what God says. You know what I mean? You read it for yourself. You know what I mean? Boom, you can see it for yourself. You got eyes and ears, intellect. You know. Yeah, I would go to my friend's house when I was in like middle school. His father would make breakfast, and bacon was a part of it. And I'd be like, I can't eat that. It's bacon. You know what I mean? But you can eat it. Just pray to God afterwards. So that's what I would do. I would pray. I would feel bad for doing it, but I would, you know what I mean, pray to God sometimes afterwards. You know what I mean? What else I wanted to do? I think that's something I wanted to touch on. I think that might be it. Is that we do coerce our kids. You know what I mean? People of different religion that have these rituals. I don't know about atheism, but the people who are parents who follow a ritual, we coerce our kids into this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And without asking them, like, yo, do you want to do this? You know what I mean? We just make them now. You gotta get up. It's time to do the prayer. We gotta get up now. You gotta do this. We gotta do that. This and that. You know. Yeah, but that's something that I regret as a father. Earlier in my fatherhood, and I was like that. You know what I mean? On top of it, you know what I mean, just the trying to uphold the religion and the practices, and then just going through a depression and not really realizing, not trying to take responsibility for whatever. I mean, things of that nature and stuff like that. Until I had to do what I had to do to get better. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My reliance on God and stuff like that. But yeah. And when my kids have kids, I hope they realize to not to force their kids if they're following a certain religion or ideology or anything like that, you know. Like for example, my son is gay. We knew it since he was probably like 3 years old. You know what I mean? But I used to be upset behind that. You know what I mean? I used to be upset behind it. But now I'm not anymore. I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? I don't care anymore. It's him. It's his life. You know what I mean? The main thing that a parent is a portal. We're a portal for that person to get here. And we do our best to give that person the guidance. You know what I mean? For example, like he had a friend that was gay, and his friend will come over here sometimes to get away from the abuse of the father. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not like that. God don't like aggressors. I don't care who the person is. God don't want you being aggressive to the person. You know what I mean? Unless you're living in the time of a prophet, and God has given that prophet commands, or that messenger commands. That's one thing. But us as just regular people, you know what I'm saying? God don't like aggressors. So I'm not gonna be aggressive to my kids unless I feel like they're being disrespectful or whatever. You know what I mean? Big on respecting the parents. You know, but yeah, he would come over to get away from that stuff, and just recently my son just found out that he ran away, and he could be doing, those hardcore drugs or whatever. But you can't force your kids because you have a certain ideology that you want your kids to uphold. Oh, peace. Oh, let me get this door.